come up, they have to say again.
All right, so what did you guys find as far as overall? Overall, okay, so TRC, as you guys can see, is overwhelmingly the most critical area of need. All right, so with that being said, what do you guys think may be some, factors that may be affecting why it is TRC? What do you think is going on with that?
I think oftentimes it's a lot of comprehension because a lot of times kids can read straight through a book and then not tell you anything about it. So that's kind of where they get thrown off. So I think it's easy to think that they're at a certain level because you just listen to them. But if you aren't like testing their comprehension often, they're not going to make it very far in the assessment.
Anything else?
I think it's when they're unfamiliar with the words. So if they see it on paper, they may understand, like Lucas said, they may understand the words or what they're reading. But once they get to those words that they're unfamiliar with, they shut down or they may not answer the questions correctly based on what the question is asking.
Yeah, I think that's the vocabulary. Definitely, like, they might know problem, but they don't know what solution means. So they don't know what solution is, but they may know how the problem was solved, but it's just the word solution.
Right.
Or it might just be character traits, but they know when we break it down for them. So it's just like piggybacking off what you said, just the vocabulary of some of the words that they use. So we have to use it more in our written response.
Anything else?
For mine, it's, what I've noticed is they get like the first 3 comprehensions correct because they're the ones that are, it's in the book. But the ones where it says they have to have like higher order thinking skills, or the ones where you get the answer from the book but it's not right in the book, they just have no. So the ones that like require you to kind of like make inferences and stuff like that, they don't know. And then a lot of mine, it's the written part. They're doing, I don't know, because they're doing awesome with the oral part,
Right.
but they cannot do the writing parts, and then it just automatically bumps them down.
Right. So I think you guys were dead on with, the key factors that are affecting how well they're performing as far as in their written response questions, and some of the things that I've jotted down on the notes in your agenda. The amount of written response writing that's occurring in the classroom, especially across the curriculum, because I know like in math, for example, I know there's parts in there where they have a math journal. So with them explaining, how they got their answers, what type of method they're using to help them get acclimated to using certain types of academic vocabulary. So just like what you were saying, in regards to when they are looking at that question, being able to know, if I see the word summarize, what does that mean? And how am I supposed to go back in the passage and locate the key ideas, the key details that is supporting the question? Because a lot of times I've noticed like kids they just start copying down the entire page of the story when they're doing like beginning, middle, and end, rather than pulling those key events and details that occurred throughout the story. So that's another thing that I think the kids are struggling with too. And also being able, some of them, even just simple as just referring back to the passage, looking back in the text. If it's asking a particular question, a certain question, going back to that exact area where that incident occurred in the story, and then, using that to answer the question. And then just navigating through the question itself. Because I know sometimes kids will answer, like they might ask what happened, and then why. And they'll tell exactly what happened, and then they don't answer the why part. So just being able to dissect the question, understanding the academic vocabulary being used, just like you said with problem, solution, summarize. I know the one that killed them last year was the lesson of the story. What did you learn? The moral of the story. Those type of ones. Because I know they start seeing it toward like the end of first grade, second grade, and that little criteria. And that was killing them. Because they had read the story beautifully, they answered the oral questions beautifully, but they got stuck with that answering what the theme was, what was the lesson in the story. So I think the more and more we start to engage the students with academic vocabulary in the lesson, when it's talking about, main idea, really pushing what that means and having them use it themselves when they're explaining things in the story. Because I know Ms. Clark was really good with having kids restate the question in their answer. So I think that's really good. Like if you do ask, tell me the main idea of the story, and then they would go, well, I think the main idea of the story is, and I think that's a good way to start off.
That is Adriana all day long to everything you ask her.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm just like, sometimes you don't have to restate the question, Adriana.
But it gets them thinking and being aware of what they're answering. So I do think that's good. But also, just like I said, practice those written response questions. I think that's where it needs to start, just more